Good morning. You're listening now to Kingston Community Radio, airing on FM 92.5 and AM 920 WGHQ, Kingston, New York. This programming is brought to you by our listeners and corporate underwriters who are interested in presenting local community radio. The opinions expressed on this program do not represent those of Pamel Broadcasting or Kingston Community Radio. Listeners are encouraged to send in $10 per month to help bring this program to you and mail your contributions to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York, 12402. And for more information or to donate online, visit our website at mykcr.org. And good morning, this is Dan Gaddis, and thank you for sharing the morning with us, being early birds like us, and it is Monday, it's Friday, way Friday, July 16th, and 70 degrees now here in Uptown Kingston, and a little bit about the weather through Sunday night. Today it's partly cloudy with afternoon thunderstorms possible, and possible gusty winds, and a high of 89, 40% chance of those thunderstorms. Tonight, 40% chance of occasional showers with thunderstorms possible, and possible wind gusts with a low of 67. Saturday, 90% chance of isolated thunderstorms becoming more widespread in the afternoon, and possible strong winds, a high of 81. And Saturday night, 90% chance of thunderstorms in the evening, then scattered thunderstorms later, a low of 66. And Sunday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers, a high of 73. And Sunday night, 40% chance of rain and more intermittent later in the night, so a low of 64. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Diane Eastwick from Athens, New York, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back, and you're listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio, WGHQ, 920 on your AM dial, and 92.5 FM, and also streaming online worldwide at mykcr.org. 845-331-9255 is your number. Please call in, 331-9255. And today is a fantastic Friday, and we are with Rick Remsnyder. And good morning, Rick. How are you?
Great to be here, Dan. How are you?
Top of the morning.
I got you there, didn't I?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, that forecast seems like there's a lot of rain coming up. Can we shift that to the West Coast for all these people that need the rain? It's just these wildfires. I was watching them last night.
Absolutely. It is so it's so wrong for us to have all this water, and they so need it in the West Coast. They so need it.
It's depressing.
Yeah, it is. But it is our Earth, and we got to take care of it.
100%. It's great to see you this morning. We have a fantastic lineup this morning. In about 5 minutes or so, we're going to have Gary Newkirk, who's the fair manager of the Ulster County Fair, talking about that. That'll be fantastic since Missed the fair last year. It's one of the hugest events in Ulster County. Then at 8 o'clock, we have Jess Davis coming in for the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce, talking about all the great food there is to eat in the county. And then at 8:30 to 9, we have a lot of folks talking about the Emerson Resort and Spa Woodstock Open, which is one of the premier golf events in the county. So where's Lawrence today? Is he on vacation somewhere?
He's on vacation, and I'm happily covering for him.
Great.
And he'll be back Monday.
One thing about having you, Dan, I know I won't get in trouble with Lawrence because Lawrence, I love Lawrence. Every once in a while he throws me a question and I'm going, wait a minute, do we really want to go there?
Oh, good. Okay, that's all right too.
Yeah.
broadens the spectrum.
I have so much respect for Lawrence. How long has he and his mother have picked up the slack and running a radio station since the father passed away, Walter Maxwell? Do you know how long has he been involved with the station?
Don't quote me on this. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but I think it's 2016. Since 2016.
He's done a fantastic job.
Oh, they have. They absolutely have kept this rowing and growing.
Yes. And
we'll keep rowing and growing.
I'm glad you mentioned the call-in number. We'd love to have some callers today, 331-9255. Looks like it's going to be a hot one today, but we're wrapping up the show at 9. So we got a lot of time for people to call between 7 and 9. Anything you want to talk about. Being the former tourism director, I kind of like to talk about tourism and hospitality and all the great events in the county. And I'll tell you, before we went on the air, we were talking about how wonderful it is that things are opening up again.
It is. It's extraordinary. It feels like such an incredible release to be able to go to a little event, a big event, a farmer's market, and be able to watch people talk.
Yeah,
right.
Actually see who they are.
Yeah, rather than just noticing their smiles with their eyes.
Right.
It's nice to see people again that we know.
I got to tell you how many times, maybe it's just me, but I can't tell you how many times I walk by a person when they're wearing a mask, and then I got to do a double take and turn around and say, hey, is that Joe? With the mask.
Oh, it's happened from time to time. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
with
just
sure.
Such a pleasure now to be able to see people, and I just hope this other variant calms down a little bit.
Well, obviously, it has to do with how many, what the percentage of vaccination is in that state or that region. It's not only state, but, because COVID doesn't know about states.
Right.
It goes by whatever region is open-ended when it comes to being able to infect. And certain areas just don't get vaccinations. And that's the big push now, of course, with the state governments and the federal governments. Even Texas is starting to push for getting vaccinations.
Well, I think
in counties,
yes.
At least. You can't Florida, for instance, you can't really rely on the governor for encouraging vaccinations.
Doesn't seem that way. I got to give a shout out to the leadership of the New York State and Ulster County. They've done a wonderful job with the vaccinations. I see 75% or close to 73%. Fully vaccinated people 18 and over, so I think that's fantastic. So I hope that continues to grow. Again, it's Rick Remsnyder, and we're here with Dan Gaddis. And we have a caller, and I'm knowing how punctual he is. I'm guessing this is Ulster County Fair Manager Gary Newkirk. Am I right on that, sir?
You got it right, Rick, and you win a free ticket to the Ulster County Fair.
Well, thank you very much. I may take you up on that. So it's great to talk to you again. because one of my favorite events for in the county when I was a tourism director for 15 years and before I was a tourism director was going to the Ulster County Fair, the New Paltz Fairgrounds. And last year, unfortunately, with a pandemic, you were not be able to do it. But this year, you're back. You must be tickled pink that the fair is happening again this year, Gary.
Oh, it's such a relief to be able to get going again. See all of our old friends that we've made over the years that have come to the fair year after year. All of our concessionaires, entertainment people, everybody that's been so great with us over the years. We really missed seeing them last year. They've all kind of become family. So,
well, I've said this many times, and I believe it, that the Ulster County Fair is one of the best run county fairs, not only in the state of New York, but throughout the country. You guys just make people feel welcome from the minute they walk into the fairgrounds. So talk about, you must talk to your staff, and, I know hospitality is a big part of the Ulster County Fair. Talk about how welcoming your staff is and the vendors and everybody that's involved with the fair.
Well, we've really stressed for years with our vendors and everybody that we're here to have fun. If we can't have fun, there's no sense doing it. And as you know, the Ulster County Fair, we're run by a board of directors. So I have up to 21 bosses. But right now, our board is made up of probably the best people I've ever worked with. Everybody pitches in. Everybody helps. Everybody's there to do the work. They're not there just for the title. They're there to make the fair happen. And it just makes my job so much easier. And I really, really appreciate all of that support that I get. And you talk about, this is a county fair. We really try to keep this as old-fashioned county fair as we can. It gets more difficult every year with agriculture going away in the county. But we still stress that, and we work very closely with 4-H to have a venue for all of their activities. So it's just it's a great thing to be involved with.
Well, let's talk about some of the things you got going this year. First of all, the Ulster County Fair this year is August 3rd through 8th. If anybody wants to check out the information, I think the easiest way is to go to the website. It's a real colorful website, ulstercountyfair.com. I know you kick things off every year on a Tuesday. Carload night, $50 per car. I used to live in New Paltz, and I could set my watch to about 3 or 3:30 on a Tuesday with a fair night when you have carload night. Talk about how popular that's been through the years.
It's got to be extremely popular. We used to try to do some other things on carload night. We used to do our fireworks on carload night, and it got so crazy we had to move the fireworks off to a different night. It's just it's crazy. Our poor ride manager, he kind of goes a little crazy that night with the crowds and the activity he gets down in his area. But it's just a super deal for a family, and it's just one of those things that happened. Sure.
I see something new this year, Gary. You can buy your tickets online. You just go to the website and click on the fair info. That's got to be convenient for everybody this year.
Yeah, we're really hoping this takes off. We've been looking at doing this for several years, and finally this year we decided we would try it. And so we went online. It's only been up, a couple of weeks now, but we seem to be getting quite a lot of reaction to it. And so that's hopefully something that can help our ticket area, make people, be able to get their tickets in advance and avoid the lines. So it should be a great convenience for our customers.
Great. You have a lot of promotions. Senior Day Thursday, August 5th, all the seniors are free from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then general admission Wednesday and Thursday, you're open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, a little later, 10 a.m. to 11, and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 8. The one thing I always thought why your fair has been so popular and such a big event is it's so affordable. You pay one price, $17. That's 10 a.m. till closing. The rides are open at 11. And for that ticket, it includes all the midway rides, shows and entertainment, and free parking. I mean, that's a great deal.
Yeah, we've tried to really maintain that. It's such a good deal for a family. Where else can a family for $17 come and actually could spend 12 hours here on the fairgrounds and actually never have to spend another penny once they walk through the gate, other than, if they want to buy some food or play some of the carnival games. But it's just a great value.
Before we get into the entertainment, which you always do a fantastic job with that every year, now after the pandemic and hopefully it's on its way out the door forever, are you doing anything different this year as far as when people come into the fair as far as safety protocols, or is it pretty much as it's been throughout the other years?
Well, there certainly will be some changes, yes. Obviously, things have improved tremendously from when we first started, and we've been working very carefully with the county health department, come up with a COVID safety plan. But the main thing is that we're still going to require anyone that's not vaccinated, we're going to request that they please wear a mask. We're going to relay out the entertainment area differently this year. We're going to eliminate the bleachers, which would close, really close seating, and just have open seating and with chairs, and people can actually move and self-isolate however they feel comfortable. And so try not to jam people in there as much. We're looking at 4-H area is our major concern because most of these kids are under 12 years of age, and Cornell Cooperative Extension and 4-H have some requirements there. So we're looking very carefully in our 4-H barns and things like that to make sure our younger people are safe. But we're hoping that, like I say, things have opened up, and I think the fair will be as normal as we can make it.
Gary, by the way, this is Rick Remsnyder with Gary Newkirk, the Ulster County Fair Manager. Anybody want to call in, 331-9255. Before I get into the entertainment, I love coming to the fair, but if I go more than once or twice, I feel like I'm going to gain 5 pounds with the fried dough, the milkshakes. Talk about all the food that you have there. It is really good stuff.
Well, that's my biggest challenge of the fair. I try to hit each one of our food vendors, and it's tough. I mean, I do a good job at it, but and that's one thing I've missed. I mean, it's been 2 years since I've had a fried dough. I haven't had any cotton candy. I haven't had a sausage sandwich, open steak sandwich, all that good food. Blooming onions on the top of my list.
Yeah.
So, it's just fair food. I mean, all the surveys that are always taken at fairs, probably one of the biggest draw is fair food, believe it or not.
I believe it. We used Ulster County Tourism, we used to have a booth out there, and we would man it 6 days a week. In the last couple of years, we didn't do that, but I never got tired of going, particularly to the Cornell Cooperative area there, nice air-conditioned venue, and the milkshake's popular, and a lot of great wholesome food. Let's talk about the entertainment this year. You have a real good lineup. I can't remember how many times you've had Neil McCoy, but I think I've seen him there at least twice. He's on Wednesday. Talk about how you're able to get Neil, who's like one of the top country pop artists over the last couple, 3-4 decades, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, this will actually be the third time we've had Neil. We started out kind of lost track of time, but it was about 23 years ago was the first time Neil was here. And the first time we had Neil, he had just made it big. It was one of those things. He was kind of a no-name when we booked him, and was very popular when he actually came into the fair. And then roughly 20 years later, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, we had Neil back, and he just put on such a phenomenal show. And we decided to bring him back again.
Well, he's really a terrific performer. I was like I said, I've seen Neil a couple times at the Ulster County Fair. I was actually out in Louisville for some golf tournament or something when I used to be at PGA, covered the PGA Tour, and Neil was performing out there, and he's got so much energy. That's what I really like about him. But talk about the rest of your entertainment. You have some really, and like you've done through the years, like you said, you brought in somebody like Neil, who really wasn't a big star at that point, but you've done this through the years where you've brought in, I don't want to say guys, people that they're not that familiar with, but then they really turn out to be really big. Talk about some of the other great performers you have this year.
Well, we're going to start out Tuesday night from a name that a lot of people are going to recognize here in the Hudson Valley, and that's Daryl McGill. Daryl is coming back with his new band, which is called Sass and Brass. If you remember, originally was the Big Smoothies.
Absolutely.
So we are really looking forward to having Daryl back on Tuesday night. And, of course, we've talked about Neil on Wednesday night. Thursday night, we have Emily Ann Roberts. People that watch The Voice will recognize that name. She is just fantastic. Can't wait to hear her here at the fair. And then Friday night, we'll have the Swan Brothers, another very popular group. Saturday, I'm really excited about. It's called the Roots and Boots Tour. But that night, you're going to get 3 for the price of 1. The Roots and Boots Tour consists of Aaron Tippin, Sammy Kershaw, and Colin Ray. So you get to hear all 3 of them. And then on Sunday, we're going to close out with Exile.
Sounds like a terrific lineup. I don't know if it was 2018 or 19. You had Billy Bob Thornton there, and it just seems like country music performers are so approachable. And Billy Bob was doing a Wednesday show, and we had opening ceremonies I used to MC every year, and he happened to be performing that night, and he was hanging out by his trailer, talking to people, signing autographs. It just seems like country performers really appreciate their fans and really go the extra yard. Do you find that to be true, Gary?
That is so true. It is so true. We have what we call a meet and greet, and the managers that usually ride with them, they'll be very strict. They'll say, "Oh, you can only have 12 people, or you can only have 15 people." Then the entertainer will speak up and will say, "Well, we can do more than that." And then I've had other entertainers that have come in and they've signed autographs for an hour and a half after the show, and they're saying they're not leaving until everybody gets their autograph. So it's just. They're very personal. They're just, down-to-earth folks. Really enjoy having them here.
I can't remember the group. Maybe you can help me out with this. And you do the entertainment pretty much rain or shine. And I remember one year it was a pretty big band you had there, and it was raining and pouring, and I was really looking forward to seeing this group. And I said, "Geez, is this going to come off?" And I'll tell you, I don't think you've ever had any entertainment canceled because of weather. Do you remember what that group was?
I almost think it was the Oak Ridge Boys.
Yep, the Oak Ridge Boys. That's what it was, yep.
I believe it poured that night. It just poured, and we were worried what's going to happen, and it didn't look like it was going to let up. And we went into the dressing room to speak with them, and they said, "Don't worry, we're not going anyplace. We're gonna have the show. It's gonna quit raining eventually," and they did. I mean, they sit there. Other acts would have been on the bus and down the road. But
right.
That's the difference between these country folks.
Well, we're getting close to the break, but I want to remind people, if they want to get tickets and more information, the UlsterCountyFair.com. It's August 3 through 8. Talk about, I don't know if you did it this year, but in the past, to line up your entertainment, you and other fair managers would go out to Vegas or somewhere and see these How have you done that in the past, where you're able to get some of these great groups and then others that people might not be aware of, and they turn out to be really fantastic for the fair?
Well, we're lucky. We actually go through a talent agent. RJ, it's Klein's Entertainment. He's been with us forever, and he is just one of these people that, he books actually Toby Keith and you name it, but yet he comes to our fair. He actually spends the 6 days here at our fair, which is unheard of. He handpicks these acts. He's very conscious of our budget and stays right within the budget that we give him, but just comes up with a great lineup every year. I don't know how we do it without him.
Well, you've really turned out some great entertainment throughout the years, and it sounds like a stellar lineup again. And, I agree with you with Daryl McGill, the Big Smoothies. I kind of go back with Daryl way back when he was at SUNY Ulster, and he was in the I think he was the AD at one point, but he's a fantastic performer and brings so much energy to the stage. So that's a great way to kick off the entertainment this year.
Definitely.
Anything before we go that we might have missed that people should know about before they go to the fair this year?
Oh, I think you've covered pretty much everything.
Well, good. Well, thanks for coming on so early. I've said this through the years. You're one of the hardest working men in the county. I know you're up a lot earlier than this, so I appreciate you coming on. And let's hope August 3 through 8, 75 degrees, no rain, sunny skies for the Ulster County Fair. How's that sound, Gary?
Oh, you did see the forecast then. Yeah, that's what I ordered, so we're set then.
All right, well, good luck, and hopefully I'll see you over there August 3 through 8. Take care, Gary.
Okay, thanks so much, Rick.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, Dan, it was really a great spot with Gary Newkirk, the fair manager. And
Absolutely. Oh, it's just ecstatic to just have the fair happen this year.
I know.
It's ecstatic. Yay, vaccinations.
Yes.
Get them. If you didn't.
I agree 1,000.
That's the only reason it's happening.
That's absolutely. Come on, folks. If you haven't done it, do it. It's great to see not only the Ulster County Fair is back, but all the other events, the Woodstock New Paltz Crafts Fair. We got the Garlic Festival coming in October.
Phoenicia Voice.
So, do we need to take a break or not?
Yeah, we need to take a break right now. We might as well do it just a little bit early. Our upcoming guest is going to call back in at 7:33, and we're in good shape here.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back with Doug LeClaire, who is the organizer of one of my favorite events, is the Asbury Shorts Concert Series, which are having a couple showings later this summer in Ulster County. So we'll go to break now. Thanks, Dan.
That's fantastic. Okay. And thank you, Rick Remsnyder, and a very, very special thanks to Gary Newkirk from Ulster County Fair for chiming in and catching us up on what's going on with the fair. You're listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio on AM 920 and 92.5 FM. My name is Dan Gatis, and it is 7:30 a.m., July 16th, and 70 degrees right now here in Uptown Kingston. And this upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio will be brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Many locations throughout the Mid-Hudson Valley, a location near you. Weather and forecast for the next few days, over the weekend to be exact. Today, partly cloudy with afternoon thunderstorms possible, and possible gusty winds as well. High of 89. Today, 40% chance of those rains. And tonight, 40% chance of occasional rains and thunderstorms again. And again, it could be windy. Just a low of 67. And Saturday, 90% chance of isolated thunderstorms, becoming more widespread in the afternoon, possible strong winds. So Saturday, we're not going to get away with it. It's going to be a 90% chance of rain on Saturday with a high of 81. Saturday night, 90% chance of thunderstorms in the evening and then scattered thunderstorms later, and a low of 66. Sunday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers, a high of 73. Sunday night drops to a 40% chance of rain and more intermittent later in the night. Low of 64. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223 CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Cameron Rylance from Kingston, and I support Kingston Community Radio because it's informative.
And thanks for staying with us. You're here with us at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. We welcome call-ins. Please, your number is 331-9255. That's your number for us. So it's July 16th, and it's 70 degrees right now here in Uptown Kingston. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Rick Remsnyder. Welcome back.
All right, Dan. It's a beautiful sunny day out there, isn't it? Looks like it.
It's gorgeous right now. Absolutely, yeah. It's a little bit of thunderstorms possible later in the afternoon, but it looks beautiful now. It's a gorgeous morning.
20 minutes from the conclusion of this show, I will be, hopefully, on the first tee at one of our prime golf courses and get a quick 9 or maybe 18 in before it gets too hot and humid. But now, I think we have one of my favorite people who has done a fantastic job in over 4 decades with the Asbury Shorts concert series, Mr. Doug LeClaire. Welcome this morning, Doug. How are you?
Rick, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Great to hear your voice.
It's great to hear yours. Where are you today?
I am down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have family down here, and I'm down visiting my mom. It's a working visit because thankfully and hopefully, fingers crossed, we now have shows booked from August to December, so the pre-production is well underway here in Charlotte.
Well, that's fantastic. We had Gary Newkirk just on, who is the fair manager of the Ulster County Fair and was one of my favorite events to go to and promote when I was a tourism director. But you know that through the years, 10 or 11 years, working with you with the Asbury Shorts, it was one of the highlights of the summer. And I'm thrilled that to learn that you're going to have a couple events here in Ulster County. But for those people that don't know a lot about Asbury Shorts, can you talk about how long ago it started? And I've always had to make sure that people know this is not a contest or anything. It's just a concert series. Talk about that a little bit, and before we get into your local performances.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a sort of touring, multi off, and I can't get enough offs in there, Broadway show of short films. And, of course, we're not on Broadway, but we're more of an entertainment event than we are an actual standard film festival. We started 40 years ago on Long Island because we felt coming out of college that there was no public venues at that time, right at the start of the 80s, for short films, student films. So we kind of started a party on Long Island annually. We grew up on Asbury Avenue in Westbury, Long Island, and had a little company there, so we called it the Asbury Film Festival. And each year it took off a little bit more and more. It became a thing. It was popular. People came to it. They wanted to see what these films were all about. And we moved into Manhattan in the late 80s, and it really took off. And what it is, essentially, is a fast-paced, fun evening or afternoon of specifically chosen short films that have won awards at festivals all over the world. We don't give awards. We don't have panel discussions. We have a tagline that says we'd rather have malaria than do a Q&A. But it took off sort of in the early 2000s as a touring event, and the mission became, let's bring this show to folks in the world that don't regularly attend film festivals or would even think about seeking out seeing short films on their own, and that's really most of the population. So we provide audiences in the different cities where we go with an evening of 10, 12 globally honored short films, comedy, drama, animation, all in one sitting, so they get kind of an overview of the short film world.
Well, the selection that you show, and you obviously change it up a lot, but it can run the gamut from, side-splitting comedy to kind of the heavy drama. Talk about the mix of how you decide for certain shows what you're going to feature for each one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on when we're getting to that venue, by the way, it's come down to where we do the show in art house cinemas or art museums or performing arts centers. It's been quite an array of tour stops over the years. So we have to think about, what is the audience in this particular venue? How have we been there before? How many years have we been there in our choice and selections of the films? But I guess the only thing that we'd ever pat ourselves on the back about, and I really can't reach back there, so I don't do it a lot, is how we program the show. Now, you've sat through a number of them as one of our most terrific supporters, and it's all about the programming to us and keeping it interesting and fast-paced. Like you said, a comedy, drama, animation. We have to sit down and talk about, will this comedy work in Act 1? Will it work butted up to this dramatic film? And also, it goes into the year that the film was produced. Most film festivals around the world, and believe me, there's one on every street corner now, they have a restriction on the year when the film's to be made so that they premiere them, or they're less than 2 years on the docket, or less than 2 years since they've been shot. We don't have that restriction because the beauty of award-winning short films is most of the folks in the world have not seen these films. They don't go to YouTube. They don't go to Vimeo, or Film Freeway, where there's a source for that. So we pride ourselves on the fact that if you come to our show tonight, you might see a wonderful comedy from Belgium from 2001. Now, that might be followed by a Sundance dramatic short film that won at Sundance 5 years ago or 2 years ago, and then the one after that might revert back to 1999, and that might be an animated film that won the Oscar. So it's the eclectic programming that I think has put us on the map and kept us around so long without being arrested.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And this is Rick Remsnyder with Doug LeClaire, the Asbury Shorts concerts. He's rather humble, but he's also a really glib and entertaining host when he does these. He's a fun guy, so it's always nice to go to the show and see Doug introducing the films. Let's talk about how you got started here in Ulster County. I remember first meeting you probably 11, 12 years ago. We met at the Rosendale Theater. The director there, Ann Citron, and you and I were talking. I think you, at that point, you'd already had one show, but we'll talk about how you picked Rosendale and how you got started in Ulster County for the first time.
Sure. My two founding partners of the then called Asbury Film Festival in Long Island were fellow graduates of the Communication Arts Program at the New York Institute of Technology in Old Westbury on Long Island. One was Michael Sanchez, who today works as a union sound technician on major TV shows and movies, and the other is Ray Preziosi, who is an accomplished cinematographer all these years and is a Rosendale resident who, with his wife Carol, are actually very active in the volunteer fire department there and in surrounding areas. I think they're actually the fire commissioners of Rosendale. But it was Ray that introduced me to the Rosendale Theater, and the first year which we fell in love with immediately. It's like the perfect venue for what we do. And when we first did the show there, it was owned for like forever, decades and decades, by a family ownership there, and we had a really cool, fun first year and wanted to come back, and we had heard that the place was sold to the Rosendale Theater Collective, a really cool, great group of people who understood independent filmmaking, and that's what they've made their trajectory of this theater over the years. It's so so many different cool events go on there prior to the pandemic and now throughout virtually. It's just kind of the perfect venue for us, just the right seating size. The folks there can't be more accommodating. Ann Citron has been so welcoming over the years, and then, of course, meeting you, Rick, and bringing Ulster Tourism on board was just the icing on the cake, and we can never thank you enough for that. It's just been a great combination up to about 2020 when, everybody took a nosedive. But I hope we're going to be able to bring the 40th anniversary show back to the Rosendale Theater next year. We've had discussions about it, and we would certainly love to come back.
Yes, I'd love to see that happen, and I know you kind of kept the streak alive in Hudson Valley last year. You had a show at the Greenville Drive-In in Greene County, and I know you're going there again this year. Talk about some of the dates you have, not only Greenville, but Urban Cowboy, and you also have another one here in Ulster County. Talk about those. Do you have the dates yet, Doug?
Yeah, we have. For two of them, we have. The other one is still ongoing negotiations. I'll also mention, it may be in the airwaves, but we'll be returning to the Linda in Albany. But first up, we have partnered with a really cool guy, Doug Cluthy, who's bi-coastal. He's a show booker and events producer that we have teamed up with. He's a terrific guy. And he grew up in the Catskills, apparently, and runs a fly fishing touring business in the Catskills, so he's back and forth all the time. But he introduced us to this really cool place in, I had never heard of this, and I'm a New Yorker my whole life, Big Indian, New York. That's how sheltered I've been. But Urban Cowboy, I guess you'd call it a sort of a really cool upscale lodge there in Big Indian, and they've developed a reputation for themselves there. They also have a place in Brooklyn and Nashville, from what I understand. And Doug has booked us there, and we're going to work with those folks to do an outdoor show on August 13th, 7 o'clock start, and the rain date for that will be the next night, the 14th. And then, as you mentioned, really cool people. I don't know, maybe about 7-8 years ago, producers from New York City in the corporate video and TV commercial world, the husband and wife team, Dwight and Lee, purchased the 1959 Greenville Drive-In, and they've turned it into this really hot spot in Greene County, where they, show family movies, art movies, independent films, but they also do live music, and they have this wonderful outdoor bar they build. Sometimes there's a food truck there. And this will be our fourth year. Thursday, August 26th, we're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary of Asbury Shorts. At all of these tour stops that we have booked, we'll be celebrating the anniversary. But we particularly love doing Greenville. It's just a really cool night with mountains in the background, and sunset is really cool. And they have a real, honest-to-goodness drive-in concession stand, which is, old school and fun. And I highly recommend folks check out their website because they do all these really cool screening events. And what's extra good to know about that show on August 26th is it's free to the public. It's sort of their independent art film night. Urban Cowboy on their website will probably have the ticket URL and how to reserve tickets. I believe it's $20 for the show on August 13th at Urban Cowboy. Can I mention the Linda, Rick?
Sure.
For our 10th year, we're heading back to the Linda, which is in Albany, on October 15th. This is WAMC, competing radio station, I guess I shouldn't mention, but they own the Linda. And we'll be there for a 10th year with host Richard Loveridge. So they've been very loyal to us as well. But thanks for asking that. I appreciate it.
Well, for the ticket price, whatever it is, $15, $20, whatever you charge at the different venues, I got to tell you, it's 2 hours of really fast-paced entertainment. And I got to be honest, the first time I was approached by Ann Citron, who does a fantastic job at the Rosendale Theater. She says, "Yeah, I'm bringing in this gentleman, and he's going to bring a bunch of short films, and we're wondering if you're interested in sponsoring." And I said, "Well, I don't know, but let me meet him first." But you sold me. I mean, that when I was first approached, I said, "Geez, I don't know," but it's a great night of entertainment. And I have to laugh. The last time I was at the Greenville Drive-In, right, the first and the last time, was it 2019, or were you able to squeeze it in last year?
They had actually, as a lot of these drive-ins and pop-up drive-ins, and I guess they had kind of a banner year because people were looking to do things and can only do them outside. So I think you guys went last year. I couldn't be there last year,
right.
But yeah, so I think you were there last year.
But Doug was there. This is Doug LeClaire, by the way, of Asbury Shorts. And if anybody wants to call in, 331-9255. It's a nice little drive from Ulster County. It's just across the border, basically, in Greene. And so I showed up the drive-in. You're absolutely right about the old school concession stand. I'll vouch for the hot dogs, the popcorn, the whole 9 yards. But the funny thing was, Doug couldn't make it because he's all over the country with these shows, but they had his drink of choice on display there. I don't remember whether it was coffee or something a little stronger, but I thought that was pretty cool. You were there in spirit.
Absolutely, yes. That was really cool of Dwight Grimm, the owner, to do that. And there's this sort of fable that I use Starbucks as an office, which I do all over the place until, of course, the pandemic hit. So I have like 35 different Starbucks in New York City, Metro New York, all the boroughs where I prefer to sit and work than in a stuffy office. And so the drink was and I always post it on Facebook that I'm in a different Starbucks office working. And so the drink was a cocktail with some sort of coffee ingredient and a Starbucks name. So it was very cool of them to do that. And it's indicative of the support that we get at all these theaters, Rick. Our biggest show of the year every year is held in Punta Gorda, Florida, on the West Coast near Sarasota, near Fort Myers. We get like 850 people. It's just like the community there. It'll be the 8th year next March, has embraced what this is, and the word spreads, and the welcome that we get at these these different theaters and museums is sometimes overwhelming and keeps us in business, obviously, but it's also more than that. It's an emotional connection to the returning folks that come back. You see these faces once a year. You see the technicians you work with and the projectionist once a year, but it's like a reunion every time. And you just hope that you're doing a good job programming that evening's selections. And, not everybody's going to like all of the films, but that's not the point. We hope two things happen. We hope that they like 6 of the 10, and we hope that they understand that these are films not made by Netflix or Hulu or 20th Century Fox, and this is the product of hardworking filmmakers of all ethnicities and all ages, and that's what the beauty of that is. You're seeing the work of folks who've wasted their or have used up their bank account to make their vision get on the screen.
Well, that's one of the things that I found most appealing about Asbury Shorts was the fact that, you are reaching out to little-known artists who come up with these films. I mean, you've had basically college students and people up and coming, and this may be the first their break, and you do a fantastic job of showing these folks, and that's one of the things that appeals to me, that you're giving young artists a chance to show their works in a very interesting type of. It's short films, and it's something that I think it's really hard to grab a person's attention for a 2.5 hour movie. I love the movies, but I can't tell you how many times about halfway through I'm probably not supposed to say this, Dan Gannis, but I'm looking at my phone. When is this freaking thing going to be over? And I never got that feeling.
Listen, that's what we encounter all the time. But that also, Rick, was one of the reasons I'm so happy that we're getting back into theaters, and my fingers are crossed that things will get better and these new variants aren't going to devastate again, because we didn't embrace the virtual world with shorts. And the reason for that is most film festivals all went virtual last March when the pandemic hit, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they were able to survive and get audiences to tune in to see their feature films, their panels. For shorts, I just found that you have a story to tell in 8 to 12 minutes, less or a little bit more. And when you're virtual, who knows where you're watching from? The sofa? Are you holding your phone in your hand? Are you getting texts? Are you going to miss a little bit of the story? Is the doorbell going to ring? Conversation goes on in a living room or wherever you're watching from. And if you miss one little thing in a short, I think you'll back me up on this, you could miss the whole story, and that's it, It's tough. It was tough for us to do virtual. We did it, but I'm glad to be coming back publicly.
Well, Doug, do you give access to all the public who's coming to see these shorts? Do you give them access to the filmmakers that made it? If we're approached after the show and asked about certain things, we'll provide information. It's a give and take between us and the filmmakers of what we're allowed to do, what their permission is, the music rights, and all the stuff that goes into their independent production that just consumed their life for 2 years. Yes, because I would say that a lot of watchers might be very much kind of scouting.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's a really cool site called Film Festival Organizers. I think it's on Facebook, and the dialogue that goes back and forth, especially during the height of the pandemic, between the directors of film festivals and the programmers asking questions of each other. How do you do this? What films are you showing next week? Can you tell me about a good comedy? What virtual program have you used? The dialogue was so incredibly interesting because we consider ourselves out of the festival world. We're not part of that because we're more of a sort of a roving entertainment event, but it was interesting to see how these festivals were adapting to not being able to be in a theater. And what rose out of that, to answer your question, was many different sites that show short films. And so when people ask, I kind of direct them to digital sites like Short of the Week or Vimeo, and they can then learn more about short films if they didn't know anything about it. Most of our audience, though, comes to our show and they enjoy it, and we love that, and we have a great rapport. Then they go on with their lives, and they may not think about short films again till we come back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, we're their annual source, and they trust us that, we're going to provide them with a dozen award winners tonight.
Right. They trust your curatorial skills. What was that? What was the name of that Facebook page? I have a filmmaker friend who I think might be interested in knowing that.
I think if you go to Facebook and then you punch in Film Festival Organizers, okay?
Thank you. Okay.
I think it's free to join, and it's a really educational service that they're doing just in following the conversations.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Sure.
Doug, by the way, now that we're talking about Facebook, what if people, they can go to the Urban Cowboy website and then go to Greenville Drive-In, but what if they want more information about Asbury Shorts, what is your Facebook?
Also, I just want to say that right now, we are our website is, now that we've booked all these shows through December, we are renovating our website, which will be available, I hope, by next week, and that's going to be AsburyShortsUSA.org, AsburyShortsUSA.org.
Good.
The Facebook page is facebook.com/Asbury Shorts NYC.
Oh, okay, good. We have a few minutes left, Doug. Just talk about, through the years, we've all, I don't know how many of your shows I've seen, 10, 15 maybe, and we all have our favorites. Is there a couple that throughout the years that are old standbys that people ask for repeatedly that you like to show?
Yeah, there's a few out there. I think there's the one Tangi Argentini, which you may remember, which is about a gentleman that has to learn the tango in 2 weeks because he's met the love of his life online. It was an Oscar nominee. I think it was from Belgium. People love that one a lot. My personal favorite, as you know, Rick, is The Bloody Olive, which is a black and white noir spoof from the Netherlands, which is three people who spend 13 minutes killing each other in the same apartment and they just won't die.
Yeah.
I think if you asked a lot of our longtime fans, they'll say the animated short from Germany, Bob the Hamster, you may remember Bob.
Sure.
Is a big favorite. And then for right now, which is in our current show, I have a favorite filmmaker myself over the years. His name is Fabrice Roch from France. And we've played a number of his films over the years, including a Little World for a Big World. He has a new film out called Burqa City, which is a 20-minute comedy. We've been playing it in a couple of the shows prior to the pandemic went over well. We're going to feature that in most of the shows coming up, especially the ones we mentioned. And also, I just want to mention also that not everywhere we go do we get the support like we've gotten in Ulster County and the Hudson Valley area, especially from you, sir, and your days in Ulster tourism. It's been quite an alliance. It's been so welcoming. You couldn't have been more supportive every year than possible. We have valued this friendship, like you said, 10, 11 years, and hopefully it will continue into the future. Well,
that's very kind of you, Doug. It was my pleasure. Hopefully my successor, Lisa Berger, who was formerly my deputy, will carry that on. And before we go, give me those dates again for the Albany and the Greenville and the Urban Cowboy shows so people can get ready to go to those shows.
Sure. Friday, August 13th, an outdoor show at Urban Cowboy in Big Indian, New York, with the rain date as the next night, the 14th. Thursday, August 26th, free to the public, the Greenville Drive-In and Route 32 in Greene County, Greenville, New York. And then in October, we're at the Linda Theater in Central Avenue in Albany, our 10th year there. Wonderful place. We'll be working with them again on Friday, October 15th, and their website will have all the info, WAMC, the Linda. So those are the three area shows at the time, and I appreciate you letting me plug it a little bit.
Well, you're a true professional. You do a fantastic job. Arts are such an important part of our culture, and there's no one individual that I've come across that has been involved in such a worthy project over 40 years. Right, not quite 40 years. Let's not date you. You're coming up on the 40th year, right?
I don't know if you remember that news story, Wonderkind 4-year-old starts film festival.
That's right. That's you.
That wasn't me. No, it was 1980, and we didn't count last year, so we're calling this the 40th anniversary, and we'll carry it over into 2022 because we're already booking shows then. So appreciate you asking about that. Thank you.
All right, Doug, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you in a month or so in Ulster County, and stay well, my friend.
Thanks for everything, Rick. All the best to you. Take care. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Dan, I think we're time for a break, and then we'll come back with some more guests.
Okay, thank you, Rick Remsnyder, and a very, very special thanks to Doug LeClaire of Asbury Shorts. And you're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. It's Friday, July 16th, and 72 degrees now here in uptown Kingston, and a little bit of weather throughout the weekend here. Today, partly cloudy with afternoon thunderstorms possible. Gusty winds, we got a 40% chance of thunderstorms today with a high of 89. Tonight, 40% chance of occasional showers, thunderstorms possible. Possible gusty winds again, and a low of 67 overnight. Saturday, 90% chance of isolated thunderstorms becoming more widespread in the afternoon. Possible strong winds with a high of 81 on Saturday. Saturday night, 90% chance of thunderstorms in the evening, then scattered thunderstorms later. A low of 66. Sunday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. A high of 73. Sunday night, 40% chance of rain, and more intermittent later in the night. A low of 64 for Sunday night.
For starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, I'm Paula Strang, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back. Thank you for being with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM. It's July 16th, 72 degrees right now here on this Friday, this fantastic Friday. And last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Many locations throughout the Mid-Hudson Valley, one near you. And this upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. And as a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, keeping KCR alive. Now let's get back to the on-air studio with Rick Remsnyder and our new guest. Welcome back.
Thanks, Dan. We have Jess Davis here from Ulster Regional Chamber. How are you?
Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Kingston community.
That's a good way to do it. I like that. Before we get in talking to Jess about a bunch of things, I have a couple birthdays here, which I'm happy to announce. Today, Friday, July 16th. Can you believe we're almost halfway through July? Hard to believe. We have a happy birthday for Jean Salmons, the mail carrier for Ulster Park, New York. And this is coming from her husband, Scott. And also, so there's only one birthday for Friday. So the birthday winner of the famous cow pie is Jean Salmons, who's courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. Also, we don't have any for Saturday, but we do have one for Sunday. And I might get in trouble with this one because it's... You want to take a stab at that, Jess? We're going to put you to work right away.
Oh, it's Helen Antonovich.
Very good. You knew... Do you
Happy
know her?
Happy birthday. No, but 89 years. Good going.
And this is...
Good going.
She did a much better job on that pronunciation than I would have. I got news for you.
Okay.
And it's from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers. So, Helen, since you're the only person the birthday submitted for Sunday, you are also the winner of the famous cow pie from Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. So congratulations to Jean and Helen. So we took care of that piece of business. Thank you, Jess. So,
march on down to O'Neill Street and get your cow pie from Boyce Dairy Milk House.
You gotta love Boyce's, right? And it's the summer season.
I got to be honest with you. I mentioned this on the show a couple months ago. I've been by Boyce Dairy about 5 million times. Never stopped. I got to do.
You never sat on the cow?
Never stopped.
Never sat on the cow.
They've got the best ice cream cakes. You know, they've got the fudge in there and the crumbles, and it's like a Kingston staple.
If you want to ask about food, Jess is the go-to person. We're going to get into that a little bit later, though. But. So thank you for coming in.
Kudos. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Ward Todd, your boss, is one of my. Well, I don't throw this around lightly. One of my all-time favorite people. Ward and I go back. We're not going to mention a number of years. He was a radio guy. Might have been WKY. Might have been another radio station. He was a news guy. I was a cub reporter at the Daily Freeman, and we would see each other at these meetings. And whatever number of decades it is, we're not going to mention. I've been good friends with Ward, and when I first came in as a tourism director, couldn't have had a person more supportive than Ward Todd. So I'm going to say he's great, and I know you love working for him.
He's the best human. Honestly, today is my 2-year anniversary at the Ulster Chamber. And he just sent me a message saying he's on vacation this week, just saying we have to celebrate. And it's just gone by so incredibly fast, and yet seems so long with the pandemic. But it sort of all has just unfolded into this beautiful thing, and it's a blessing to work for him and by his side and have earned his trust.
Does he have a few ideas or what?
Oh, my gosh. It's the commute, Rick. You know about that commute, right?
Oh, I know, yeah.
So he rides on Route 28 and looks at the beauty around him, and he thinks about how we can share this beauty that we have with everyone around us. And so he'll show up on a Monday, and it's like He's full of energy and full of ideas. So you're right.
Well, he's an early riser, too. So I know, Ward, if you really want to get somebody on a 7 o'clock call, a 6 o'clock call, he's available. But let's talk about what's going on with the chamber. I know you have a lot of big things going on coming up, so let's talk about that a little bit.
We do. So our very first in-person mixer in 18 months is coming up. And so it's on next Monday, July 26th. We are hosting it at Keegan Ales, and it's sort of going to be a celebration of Tommy Keegan's life. We're going to be outside under a pavilion with live entertainment and inside, so lots of space, lots of open air, and we're starting to see lots of people register to attend, so I expect it to be a sold-out event.
Year and a half since you've had a live mixer.
February 27th, 2020, we were at Diamond Mills. We were shoulder to shoulder. I don't think we could have fit many more people in the tavern there. And but we're back. We're going back to it, and we are super thrilled. We did have a couple of in-person business card exchanges, and they were fantastic.
Well attended? Or?
Very, yeah.
People are dying to get out and mix now, right?
And it's so good to see the faces. It's like the smiles and the handshakes again. And, you know, there's some people who are still keeping their social distance, and that's okay too. You know, it just all works out.
It's very appropriate that your first one is back as Keegan Ales, and as everybody in the community knows of Tommy Keegan, what a great guy he was. When we did a video when I was at Ulster Tourism about craft beverages, I told Tommy he was the star of the video because he's so outgoing. He was a wonderful person. Whenever you needed anything, all you needed to do was get a hold of Tommy, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, you know, I remember being at a mixer, and the location didn't realize they had to have beer and wine. And I remember this was...
That's a big misstep, I would say.
Yes. So and it was like at a farm. It wasn't your usual venue. And you know Ward finds those unique spaces to host mixers in. And I remember Ward just getting on the phone and calling Tommy. And he drove down the road, and we met at the venue. And there he was. He had it all. And I can't remember too many mixers that Tommy hasn't been an intricate part of. And in fact, he was one of our very first mixers early on, way back in the day. So it's appropriate.
Have you guys decided when you're going to have your first breakfast yet? Has that been decided yet? Or?
We have. So September, we're going to go back to the breakfast schedule. I don't think we have the date on the calendar for that, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of in-person events that are popping up on our calendar again. So September, it's going to kind of go back to that once a month breakfast, once a month mixer, our quarterly business card exchanges, and even more exciting, we're going to host our Buy Local Expo that we do annually. This is our 25-year anniversary, and it's going to be in person at Diamond Mills as it has been in the past on September 15th. And each day it seems like there's more booths filling up, so I expect it to be a very well attended, a very well put together event. We're really excited about it. And our staff at the office have taken on the whole task of planning it, which is sort of fun. So Val and Allison and Ward and myself, we're all working on this project together. So that's sort of what the pandemic did. It brought us together to share tasks in a big way.
Well, that's the Buy Local Expo is a staple in this community, and people love going there. I used to love going there, not only to pass out information, but to mix and mingle. And you learn so much about businesses you had no idea what they did, really,
yes.
When you spend, I don't know how many hours it is, 6?
5 hours
okay.
Usually, yeah. And, you know, it's really meaningful, the Buy Local Expo. I remember going to the first one and I left there and had plans, follow-ups to do business with people. And so it was great, like you said, to mix and to see and to learn, and then also to know the resources are there for your needs.
Plus a great venue, Diamond Mills. It's a great big space. The way they organize the booths is great. And then to be able to go out, maybe have a little lunch or sandwich and overlooking the falls
Yes.
there. It's just a wonderful place. I'm sure you guys are happy there.
Yes, and I believe that we'll have good weather because we're getting all of the rain and all of the thunderstorms out of the way in July, right?
Right, yes. Well, here's another thing about Ward. When I came in, 15 years ago in Buy Local Expo, I said, we'd love to have a booth there, and if you could put us in a nice location, it would be nice location. You guys are Ulster County Tourism. You're going to be right next to us at the entrance. I mean, that's just was so nice, and I always appreciated that.
Yeah, he makes good calls on things. And, when I think about that space and being inside Diamond Mills at the expo, there's not really a bad spot in there,
That's true. Yep.
Because, of course, people want to be front and center, and are some premier booths, but everybody that attends that event seems to really want to meet all of the businesses and organizations that are there and learn about them. So in my experience, spending the whole 5 hours there
and plus, probably,
which feels like a long day, yeah, is that people really just mix throughout the entire room. And even I remember Bottini was like in a corner, but they were giving out candy, and their booth was constantly full. And so I just don't think there's a bad spot, of course, at the door, yeah. Because we're usually giving away some fun stuff, and Diamond Mills is up there, and it's just, you kind of walk into the celebration right there.
Well, it's a great event. And what's the date again?
September 15th.
Okay, at Diamond Mills. Folks, please check that out. I know, by the way, this is Jess Davis from Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. This is Rick Remsnyder. If you want to call, we'll be happy to answer anything you want. 331-9255. What was that signal you just gave me, Dan? Nothing?
Just please call.
Okay, then.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
I just saw I didn't know what that was. Let's talk about the business recognition awards and all that.
Yes, so that is October 21st. I'm going by my memory, so.
Wait till you get to be my age. That's a dangerous thing
Rick,
to do.
I'm getting there, and I have so much going on in my calendar that I've learned to not quote myself. I'm like, let me double check that.
Right.
But yes, so we are taking nominations for local businesses. So let me just get the categories. I didn't know we were going to go right to that one, but I have it right here. So the nomination form, we are recognizing the Entrepreneur Business of the Year, the Business of the Year, the Small Business of the Year, the Tourism or Hospitality Business of the Year. One that I truly love, the Commitment to the Community Not-for-Profit Award, the Heritage Award, which is multiple generations with a family business, our Future, the Emerging Young Leader of the Year Award. And so if you just go to our website, it's ulsterchamber.org, and scroll through, it's one of the headlines on our website, and there's just a drop down. You can actually go in and into the categories, and you can nominate your favorite business or the deserving business that you want us to know about. We have a committee that reviews and votes on it, and I think we've got some really great nominees, but it's not finalized yet, so there's still some time.
Do you have the venue and the night yet for that, for the dinner?
I believe so. They've been handling this part of it, and they're going to bring me in after they get all the stuff for the planning. But I believe we're going to probably do it at Diamond Mills because of the space, because of just going back into the in-person, and it's October 21st.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That was one of my favorite nights. I encourage people to go to that because each category, they have the winner, they have a video, and the people come up, and one of the ones that I'll never forget is the night that Levon Helm was honored, and he was there, and he had his dog, and what a wonderful person Levon Helm was. It was a great award. I don't remember which one he got, but he was so, I mean, this is a man that's done everything, with the band, movies, you name it, Grammys, 2-time Grammy Award winner. And he was so touched and honored because, you know why? It's people from his community that were honoring him. And it was really a special evening. And it is for all these folks that are honored.
It kind of brings you back to remembering why we do what we do every day. And it really is a celebration of community. It's a celebration of perseverance, a celebration of what we have here in our area. And so I love to attend that event.
Yeah, it's fun. I've got to know Jess first when she and the Chamber did an unbelievable job during the pandemic when people really needed the help, when you began doing the Ulster Eateries. And you promoted all the restaurants. It was a fantastic job in the county of when people really needed the help. So talk about how that got started and what a success it was.
Sure. So actually, it's interesting. We didn't really plan for it to be a long-term thing. We had a member reach out to us that said, what can you do on social media to help us? It was a newer restaurant, and I always share her story. It's Linda Bradford from Stonehouse Accord, which is a fabulous place to visit. And so she emailed Ward, and Ward came to my office, and he said, what do you think? And I said, well, we could do a Facebook group because now indoor dining is shut down. And so the restaurants were like apprehensive as to where they were going. Were they going to shut down entirely? How were they going to pivot and move forward? They had inventory, they had food. So I said we could do, a group where we could invite them to come in and tell our community, this is curbside, this is the days we're going to be open, this is what we're serving on our menu. And so it was like the end of the day. And he said, all right, go ahead and do it. And I said, but one thing, I think we should include the entire restaurant community, even, outside of our membership. And he said, okay, give me a minute. So he came back down and he said, the board approved it, go for it. So we set up this group. And, I just invited my friends. And I asked everyone in the office, just invite your friends. And within, what seemed like hours, we had hundreds of people that had joined the group. And then by later that week, we had in the thousands. And I think it was really the community response because everyone didn't really know what was going on. We all need to eat. Most of us love to eat. And so it was sort of like I always reference it back to a community dinner table. Now, it's grown and evolved, and there was times where I'm like, what did we create? Yeah. Because there's over 12,000 members in the group. And it's still very much alive and well today. And so Ward always has really good ideas, like you should go out and show people what the inside of the restaurant looks like, or let's go take pictures, or let's do this. And so, that's how it evolved into Jess Delicious at a time when this past January, there was another spike in COVID and people were just not going out. And so even myself and my daughter, we said, we're not going to go out to restaurants for a while. We'll do takeout. We'll do curbside. And Ward said, I think if you went in and did a little live. And I said, I don't know if I want to do live. I said, and he said, you'll just eat 2 bites. And I'm like, well, yeah, Ward, right. I do love to eat. But I said, I'd rather go in and do some clips and like edit and put it together and just make it a nice little quality something for that business to share. And so I went home and I said, we're going to start going out to dinner in restaurants. And we had just said we weren't. And so we started to head in, and what we found is like we were the only table. There was nothing to be afraid of really because we were like the only table. And then as time went on, there was another table or two, we were at like prime dinner time. So where you would expect it to be just a little bit busier. And as this episode started to air, people started to like just follow these episodes. And so it's sort of funny because I'll be out, just in my normal every day, and someone will walk up to me and be like, Jess Delicious.
You have a new nickname.
I do. My daughter even, she says, Jess Delicious. Like, it's fun. It's fun. It is.
Well, I've seen some of the videos that you've produced. Are they on the website yet, or how does that work?
So they're on the Chamber YouTube channel, and of course they're in the Ulster Eateries group. And the best way to search is, because it's such a large group, if you go into the search tab, you can just put in hashtag Jess Delicious, and it brings up all the posts. So there's sometimes photos, sometimes videos, and we're somewhere around, I think, 50 or 60 that we've actually gone to, visited, edited, posted. So, and then we've got a bunch in the queue, and we have right now around 68 more visits to do.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. 68 more visits. What do you think about that, Dan?
Just take a taste, Jess, okay? Just take a taste.
I've really learned to be really good about it most of the time.
Conservative, yeah.
I will tell you the one thing that I never do when I dine out, pre-Jess Delicious, I never really get dessert. Because by the time you have maybe an appetizer, a salad, your dish, you're just too full for dessert. But on Jess Delicious, you always have dessert. You always taste it. You always try it. So I've become a big dessert eater.
Yeah, a lot of diners really actually attenuate what they're getting for their first couple courses, because they have the plan.
Yes.
That this restaurant has the best desserts in creation, and I'm going to get one of those. So they get their soup and salad, or an appetizer instead of an entree, so that they can get their dessert.
Yes.
I just get the dessert to go. It's no big deal,
it's
right?
Smart, Rick.
There you go. You can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have too much more time, but I have to say that now me and my girlfriend Tamara Murray, who is coming in pretty soon to talk about the Woodstock Open. The Emerson Resort and Spa Woodstock Open, before I get into trouble. But
our guest is planning on calling right in at 8:33. 8:33. Yeah, right after the break, and he'll be in too.
Good.
On the phone.
But what I was going to say was, you're the go-to person as far as restaurant recommendations now. So, is there one out-of-the-way spot that people may not know about yet, fairly new, that you would recommend?
Oh, boy.
I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but Jess Delicious, she endorses all these places, but I'm just putting her on the spot for one.
Well, because, we're out there, and we're out there to talk about the good. And so of course, the restaurants put their best foot forward, I believe. But sometimes I just spring it on them and show up a day, after I've let them know. It's so hard to pin it down to one.
Well, a couple then.
So I visited Creekside Bar and Bistro in Rosendale.
Okay.
And I thought it was sort of like a sports bar. As, you drive by and you look. And when I walked in the doors, I couldn't believe how beautiful, immaculate.
Never been there.
The food was delicious. It's bright. It's open. The bar is gorgeous. And the owners, Vaughn and Rishma, are wonderful people. So that was one that was really a pleasant surprise, and we've been back a couple of times.
Is that on the main street, or is it a little bit out of town?
It's right before the bridge on the left-hand side, where that little strip mall is.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yep.
I know where that is.
The Creekside View. One that was one I hadn't gone to because it's just such a little bit of a ride is Peekamoose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in Big Indian, and a lot, basically everything there is house-made incredible. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I had a fantastic day at Emerson Resort and Spa, and they really put out all the stops. And so there you'd have to choose, either you're going to have to spend the day and get a spa treatment and enjoy the spa bites and spa sips on the deck. It's incredible, like the best mango bruschetta ever. Or you stay and you hang out at Wood Notes Grill, which they've moved up on the property to the Catamount, which and again, breathtaking views, and the food was exquisite. But you don't need to even leave Ulster County. You really don't, because we've got so much here in our own backyard, and we have some of the best food that I've ever had. So thanks for having me on today, Rick.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Jess Davis, better known as Jess Delicious. She's going to be a regular host, or a regular guest once a month. And we've already cleared this with her boss, Lord Todd, so we appreciate that.
He gave us the blessing.
Yes, he did. So anyway, great seeing you. We're going to go to a break, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month and we could talk about more restaurants. So,
I can't wait.
All right, thanks, Jess. And we're going to go to a break, and then we'll have some folks talking about the Emerson Resort and Spa Woodstock Open.
Thank you, Rick Remsnyder, and a very, very special thanks to Jess Davis, Just Delicious, and that's Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. You're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. It's Friday, July 16th, 72 degrees here in Uptown Kingston. This programming has been brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at 92.5 FM and AM 920 and on the web at mykcr.org. Join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25 or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, keeping KCR alive. Weather and forecast one more time for Kingston and the surrounding areas over the weekend. Today, partly cloudy with afternoon thunderstorms possible and possible gusty winds, a high of 89. And that's a 40% chance of rain. And tonight, 40% chance of occasional showers and thunderstorms possible and possible gusty winds, a low of 67. And Saturday, 90% chance of isolated thunderstorms becoming more widespread in the afternoon. That's a 90% chance, so we're not getting away from that. Possible strong winds as well. A high of 81. Saturday night, 90% chance of thunderstorms in the evening and then scattered thunderstorms later. A low of 66. And then Sunday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. A high of 73. And Sunday night, 40% chance of rain and more intermittent later in the night. Low of 64. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5. Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed, support causes that matter, change lives, change communities, change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm from Copiague, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
You're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. KCR is talk radio. 331-9255 is your call-in number. This segment of KCR is brought to you by the Kingston Lions Club, serving the Kingston-Ulster County area since 1941. Call them at 845-901-9067 for more information. 901-9067 for more information. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Rick Remsnyder and our new guest.
Thank you, Dan. We have from the Emerson Resort and Spa, the marketing director and director of sales, Tamara Murray. How are you, Tamara?
I'm great. How are you this morning, Rick?
I'm doing okay. We have Dick McDermott on the line from the Woodstock Golf Club. Dick, are you there?
Hi, Rick.
Yes,
Hi,
sir.
Tamara.
Good morning, Dick. It's so good to hear your voice.
Yeah, same.
Well, it's we're getting close. We have Dick and Tamara here as Emerson Resort and Spa is a sponsor of the Emerson Resort and Spa Woodstock Open, and Dick is the club historian. Are you the president of the Woodstock Golf Club board, Dick?
No, I am just an ordinary mortal board member, Rick.
You're more than ordinary. So let's talk about July 26th, the Woodstock Open golf tournament. I know Greg Biscani is back, the defending champion. So you got to be thrilled with the field that you've lined up.
Oh, yeah, that's terrific news about Greg. And in fact, we have 10 other players who had just qualified for to play in the New York State Open. Among them are some of the players that might be sort of considered the dark horses, if I may put it that way.
Sure.
Michael Shine from the Albany area, who was runner-up last year. Jesse Steele, our left-handed player, so our version of Phil Mickelson. Daryl Kessner is also coming, and he's going to be playing with Dave Fusco and Mark Brown in our Stellar Senior Division as well.
Those are three great players, those guys.
Yeah, and I don't want to overlook the two Woodstock entrants, Justin Lane, our club member and as an amateur won the tournament in 2019, and just finished, I think, in the top 4 of the amateurs in the New York State Open. And Chris Sanger, our head professional, who won the event while he was an assistant at Red Hook in 2014. So, and I think it's certainly the case that the attractiveness of the tournament has been substantially enhanced by the participation of the Emerson in this. I mean, it's got to be the best thing that has happened to our tournament, and we're so very, very pleased with their sponsorship and not just their sponsorship, but their participation in the planning and the execution of the event. It's something that I think it's no coincidence that we have the quality of field that we have.
That's so nice of you to say, Dick. I mean, we've enjoyed our partnership so much over the years, and we're just so proud to be involved in such a terrific event for the county.
And, Rick, I also wanted to say, speaking of the county, I think, as I'm sure you know, golf itself is thriving in Ulster County. Thank heaven Wiltwyck, designed by Robert Trent Jones, was saved and is thriving. Twaffskill is doing very, very well. Of course, designed, the evidence strongly suggests, by Tillinghast, the designer of Wingfoot and Baltusrol. So I think things are going great in Ulster County for golf. We are at near capacity now, our own membership. But getting back to the Emerson, I think one of the really neat things that we've started is the presentation of the Emerson robe to the winner of the tournament, which is obviously, we got the idea from the presentation of the green jacket at the Masters, and we feel we're entitled to sort of be copycats in that respect, because, as I've said before on your show, our tournament is believed to be the longest-running tournament in the United States, open to professionals and amateurs and held on the same course, a year longer than the Masters.
It's quite an accomplishment. And, talking to Greg Biscani after he won the Open last year, he really liked that robe, and he was wearing it when it was 90 degrees, I think, that day. But
yeah, it was. That's right.
I think he enjoyed it more in the winter when he took it home. But I know he appreciated that. And of course, you got the $3,000 first prize, and the rest of the purse is quite generous. Dick, I agree with you about the how well golf has been doing, but one of the things I know, talking to the competitors last year, that the Woodstock Open was so successful last year because it was like one of the very few tournaments that went off. And, you had safety protocols. People were wearing masks when they weren't playing. But I know that you must have heard this from the competitors, how thrilled they were to be able to have a tournament like the Woodstock Open last year during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was. I did hear that, and we were very, very grateful to be able to do it. Our tournament survived the Great Depression, Hurricane Irene, and now COVID-19. And speaking of the players, Rick, and I may have mentioned this before, but I think it's important to say again that our philosophy underlying the tournament is that the club professionals who give so much of themselves to the game of golf, when they get a chance to play in a tournament, the tournament ought to resemble as closely as possible the type of event that their colleagues that are playing in the major tournaments are playing. So we try to make it as good a tournament as we can. We down to the fact that I just ordered a number of Titleist practice balls that we'll be setting up on our range. It's a somewhat abbreviated range, but it's a nice one nevertheless. We have special flags for the tournament, and we do everything we can to sort of repay the club professionals and the dedicated amateurs that come every year. And we just want to make it as nice an experience as they're certainly entitled to have.
Well, you've done a great job through the years, Dick. You go back and you see that the fields have included former Masters champions Gene Sarazen and Doug Ford, but it's always been, to me, the premier professional and amateur combined golf tournament in Ulster County through the years, going way back to when Charlie Tiano, the late Charlie Tiano, was involved with the Woodstock Open. But, the golf course, let's talk about that a little bit. Even though Greg Biscani shot a 6 under 64, which was a phenomenal score, that golf course still poses a challenge to these pros and amateurs alike, correct?
It certainly does, and we have really two trademarks, Rick. our par fours are classic short par fours. You know, very, very similar to number 3 at Augusta, number 6 at Wingfoot, number 7 at Olympic. So those pose challenges both physically and mentally, I may say. You know, the players that try to overpower the course seldom, if ever, do well in the Woodstock Open. And our par threes are as good a par threes as you're going to find on any golf course. We have 2 of them, one on 4, one on 9, and they're corresponding on the back 9, 13 and 18. And one of the great things about our course is that we have a lot of holes have separate and distinct tees for the front 9 and the back 9. And it's not just a question of one tee being in front of the other. We have different tees that actually change the entire character of the hole. And as I like to say, the tournament, down the stretch, the tournament is generally always decided on our version of Amen Corner, 16, 17, and 18. 16 is a very tight, sharply dog-legged par 4 to a well-trapped green that sits dangerously close to the Sauk Hill Creek. 17 is a drivable par 4, which, as we spoke before, Greg eagled on his way to winning last, and 18 is another classic, well-trapped, and well-designed par 3. And we do end on a par 3. I was thinking about this morning. But, you know, Congressional itself, it's a little unusual to end on a par 3, but Congressional, as I recall, ends on a par 3 also, Rick, in Washington, D.C. So those 3 holes, you know, it's easy to watch the course from 3 holes because somebody can stand and watch play on the 6th green, the 7th tee, the 8th. The 8th green, the 9th tee, and the 9th green, and the corresponding places, of course, on the back 9. So generally, it comes down to 16, 17, and 18. Amen Corner.
I love that, Dick. Amen Corner. I've never heard it referred to that way, but it is kind of like Amen Corner. I can't tell you how many times I've seen when I used to cover the Woodstock Open when I was at the Daily Freeman, it come down to the 18th green hole and guys making bogey on that or making par and winning the tournament. It's a really challenging hole, and it's a great way to finish the tournament. So I'm looking for another exciting finish this year. Do you want to go out on a limb and predict a winner for us?
Yes, I will.
Good.
I like Justin Lane. He's a terrific young player. He just graduated from Binghamton University. He's a very fine young man. He won the tournament in 2019. I could take up the rest of the program talking about his accomplishments. I mean, even in the Open here, I can't tell you the number of times that he has been the low amateur. He's been a member of our club and around the course since he's been 5 or 6 years old. It's just been a pleasure to watch him. But trying to be as objective as possible, I like him. Chris Sanger. Our own Chris Sanger is a very solid player, too, and has won this tournament in 2019. And as I say, it's sort of, maybe a surprise is I like this Michael Shine, who was the runner-up last year. And if I may, I'd just like to say a word about George Wade, our groundskeeper, Rick.
Sure, go ahead.
Who does such a fabulous job. The course is going to be, this year, particularly with all the rain, it's going to be nice and lush. The green zones are going to be a little longer than usual, which I like. I don't like to play in them, but I like to watch good players attempt to play, out of difficult green surrounds. So we'll have sort of an Olympic type play around the greens this year. I'd also like to put in a plug for Brett Paulson, our general manager, who does a great job. And, our restaurant this year, the Millstream Tavern, is terrific. It's the same people that operate the Dutch Ale House in Saugerties, so we're very grateful. And what they've done to the interior of our clubhouse is something. But, getting back to the Emerson, the partnership is terrific. A lot of the players are staying there now beforehand, right, Tamara?
Yeah, in fact, Greg Bisconti is going to be staying with us. And I just have to say, regarding your predictions, Dick, I think that Greg might have something to say about that as well. He's told me that his wife loves his champion's robe, the Emerson robe, so he's hungry to grab another one for his wife.
Yeah, I didn't mean to overlook him. I mean, Rick put me on the spot here, so I at first, Tamara, I was going to say, I don't know, as tournament chairman, should I really get into it? But, sometimes I like to talk, maybe a little too much, and I couldn't resist.
No, that's okay, Dick. We like it. We like it.
Always fascinating to listen to. And I'm pretty proud. I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself because over the years between you and Rick, I've learned just a couple of things about golf, and I'm very proud that I'm actually able to follow the conversation while you're talking about it. So,
oh yeah, you certainly have. I know that. And getting back to Greg just a second, and I may have mentioned this the last time I was on, but what's really sort of neat is that Greg won the nation's oldest tournament, and he's the head professional at the nation's oldest golf club.
That's right.
St. Andrews, founded by John Reed and his Apple Tree gang. The senior partner of my law firm was a member there, so I played there a number of times, particularly before the course was redesigned by Jack Nicklaus. And suffice it to say that I really enjoyed playing the prior course, and Rick and Tamara, it resembled Woodstock quite a bit, which is probably one of the reasons that I like it. But it's a great course now, and Nicholas did a great job. But it's sort of a nice touch that Greg has joined us. It's the first year he played last year, and he shot a 64. I'd never seen the course before.
You're absolutely right. You're very well versed in your history, and you're a great person to talk to about the tournament, Dick. We're looking forward to seeing you on July 26th. The public is welcome to come and watch if they want.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not at the point, I don't want to get in any trouble, we're not at the point, Rick, where we have marshals and stuff, but I will say this real quick. People say sometimes, what's the difference, say, between the guys playing in the Woodstock Open and the people playing on the tour? And in my humble opinion, the only difference, Rick, is consistency. The players that we have are capable of playing exactly the same game as the guys on the tour. But the difference is the people on the tour can do it week in and week out and day in and day out.
Right, the regular club pros actually they have to work for a living too. They have to
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of my that's one of our primary purposes, Rick, is to give these club professionals a day that they clearly deserve. When they walk into Woodstock, they're going to know that they're playing in a first-class golf tournament, God willing.
Well, you run a great tournament. One thing I have to add, Dick, you do a terrific job of promoting, and when you're there at the tournament, people love to see you. If it's 90 degrees and humid, though, you don't have to wear that blazer. I don't want take the blazer off.
I can't do that, Rick. You know that.
I know.
Have to, huh?
All right, it's great seeing you or talking to you. Looking forward to seeing you on the 26th, Dick. So thanks for sharing a few minutes with us this morning.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And Tamara, great speaking with you too, and we'll see you then.
Yes, you. A week from Monday.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, bye, Dick.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, he's such a class guy, Dick McDermott, and he does a wonderful job. We still have a few more minutes. Just talk how Tamara Murray from the Emerson Resort and Spa, what benefit does the Emerson get out of being the primary sponsor of the Woodstock Open? Why did you get involved in the tournament?
Well, I mean, for us, it's really about community. We first became a sponsor of this tournament back in 2017. That was the first year. And prior to that, we had just finished, the Emerson had just finished going through a $6 million renovation, rebranding the entire Emerson. And it's always been extremely important to our owner, Emily Fisher, who is a philanthropist in her own right, that we were there for the community, that we were involved, that we helped wherever we could. So I remember thinking, there's got to be some more things that we can do to be able to sponsor things that are taking place in the region. And John Rizza, who was the GM at Woodstock Golf Club prior to Brent, John just happened to email me and said, hey, can we set up a meeting? He came and sat down. They had just lost their sponsor. And the more that he talked about it, it just seemed like an absolutely perfect blending. And the tournament itself is just has such a storied history to it. And so it just seemed like a perfect pairing and something. It's really been something, it's one of the highlights of the year for the Emerson, for me personally. Like Dick mentioned, we all contribute and work together. Each year we do more to try and just keep upping it to the next level. And we're really, really looking forward to another amazing tournament this year.
Well, great. And I have to say the Emerson have elevated the tournament from their sponsorship, and it's always been a great event, and I hope the Emerson will continue, and I'm sure they love working with Dick and all the people at the Woodstock Golf Club. So we appreciate you coming in. We thank all our guests. It was a jam-packed program today when we started with the Ulster County Fair and went to the Asbury Shorts and Jess Delicious and the Woodstock Open. I don't know how we're going to top this next time, Dan, but
it's a good challenge.
Yes,
it's a good challenge.
We'll figure something out. So it's great having you here this morning, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Rick Remsnyder, and a very, very special thanks to Tamara Murray, Emerson Resort and Spa, and Dick McDermott of Woodstock Golf Club, and Jess Davis, Just Delicious, Ulster Regional Chamber of Commerce, and Doug LeClaire, Asbury Shorts. Thank you, guests, for coming in for us with all of your great updates. And thank you for sharing the morning with us, folks, and participating in Kingston Community Radio, KCR AM 920 and 92.5 FM WGHQ, and our live streaming on mykcr.org. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by the Kingston Lions Club, serving the Kingston-Ulster County area since 1941. Call them at 901-9067, 845-901-9067 for more information. A local chapter that connects you to a global force for good. And thank you for being with us again. And all this is inspired discussions about our communities with the community. And we invite you to keep up with us every weekday from 7 to 9 a.m. Every weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. KCR, Kingston Community Radio. And until next Monday, we wish you every success in growing and developing Ulster County, Kingston, and all our neighboring communities. And this is KCR signing off, and we return you to Magic 92.5.
CR FM, Kingston, New York. We're streaming through our website, WGHQ.FM, and you can listen on your smart speaker when you say, play WGHQ. This is Magic 92.5.